Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us here in the Void. I'm Science Ben, Immersive Experiences Coordinator for the Danville Science Center, and your host for today's tour of the night sky for the month of July 2021. Today's virtual online interstellar discussion is presented by our friends at Danakid Associates and is interactive as always. You are invited to participate in the chat throughout our survey, sharing your comments and questions such that I can go back and attempt to respond to some of them at the end of our tour. If you missed any of today's live broadcast, you can go back and view recordings on the Danville Science Center's Facebook or YouTube pages. Let's discover our world. We begin, as we always do, outside of the Digital Dome Theater here at the Danville Science Center. We are facing the southern sky, and if we take a few steps back, we can see that to our right is the east, to our left is the west, meaning behind us, directly behind us is north. It is just a few moments past noon on the 13th of July, 2021, and if we gaze up faithfully, our central star, the sun, is shining down upon us. If we gaze slightly to the east and remove the edge of the museum, we can find our moon hiding just behind the Science Center. At just 3 days old, that is 3 days since the last new moon, today's moon is in the waxing crescent phase, presenting at just 12% illumination. Even with that small percentage, the moon is still the second brightest object in the sky, outshone by only the sun. The moon's light is not its own, but is rather the sun's light reflected off the lunar surface. The moon, however, is far from the only skyward object that acts as a mirror for sunlight. If we return back to our start and we zoom out just a little bit, we can follow our sun just beyond the horizon to a time of about little after 8 o'clock, and we begin seeing 9 o'clock rather tonight. We begin seeing some other bright lights lighting up our sky. The first bright stars you may notice are the stars Regulus and Denebula, each belonging to the regal constellation, the king of the jungle and perhaps king of the sky, mighty Leo, the lion. Keen observers will notice that in addition to those bright lights, there is another bright object appearing to be about the size of our moon. This is actually the third brightest object in the sky, an object that does not produce its own light, so it's not a star, but reflects the light of the sun, Earth's closest planetary neighbor, Venus. Tonight, Venus and Mars are very near to each other from our perspective, appearing as one spot when viewing with the naked eye. Whoop. But if we were to zoom in more, which is going to be a bit of an issue, yay technology, There we go. They're pretty close together. We call this a planetary conjunction. You may remember back in December when we had the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, where tonight Venus and Mars are in a planetary conjunction. Venus actually makes the closest approach to Earth of any planet, though Mercury actually has the closest average orbit to not just us, but all of the planets in our solar system. Seriously, averages. Math can make things confusing. Mercury is also the closest planet to the sun, but Venus is the hottest. Like our moon, Venus lacks an atmosphere. The sun's heat warms its surface, then escapes back into space. But Venus has a dense atmosphere of carbon dioxide gas that acts like a blanket to trap in the sun's heat. This process is known as the greenhouse effect, and we experience it here on Earth too. Venus has the thickest atmosphere of any of the terrestrial planets. As a result, its atmospheric pressure is 92 times that of the Earth at sea level, or the same as descending 3,000 feet underwater. The average surface temperature of Venus is 867 degrees Fahrenheit, with temperatures frequently exceeding 900 degrees. We don't know much about the surface of Venus as the planet is covered in thick layers of sulfuric acid. These clouds reflect light back to Earth, which is one of the reasons the planet appears so bright in our night sky. It is not uncommon for the first star to be seen in summer nights to not be a star at all, but rather Venus. Sulfuric acid is caustic. It can burn human skin and organs. Venus's atmospheric pressure wouldn't just knock you over if you tried to stand on the planet. It would squash you flat like a sheet of paper. In Venus's heat, there's not enough ice cream in existence to combat it. So, did Venus ever support life? NASA says maybe. Last month, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration announced that it had selected 2 missions, Da Vinci Plus and Veritas, aimed at determining how Venus got so hot and if it may have been the first habitable planet in our solar system. Venus is about the same size as Earth, has a similar mass, and has a similar proximity to the Sun. It may at one time have had oceans and a climate similar to our own. In fact, Venus is sometimes referred to as Earth's sister planet. What happened? That's what NASA wants to find out. Da Vinci Plus and Veritas have each been awarded $500 million, that's $500 million, to develop plans for finding answers to that very question. More on that later. Both missions are expected to launch to the planet of love by the year 2030. When they arrive, how will they know what to look for? If there is life on another world, will it look like life here on ours? It is the job of astrobiologists to ask and seek possible answers to these questions. We begin by looking at life here on Earth that persists in extreme conditions. You may already be familiar with one of the toughest extremophiles, the tardigrade or water bear. Also known as moss piglets, tardigrades are a whole phylum composed of more than 1,000 species of tiny animals with 8 legs, hands, and plump little bodies. Tardigrades have been found on every continent, including Antarctica, predate humans, and may very well outlast us. In fact, they've been exposed to space. Israel tried delivering their lunar lander Bereshit to the moon back in 2019. Something went wrong and it crash landed. Aboard Bereshit was over 1,000 tardigrades, which may have escaped and possibly, though not probably, are still alive on the moon. If there is life on Venus, it may very well look, or at least act like life here on Earth. Maybe like a tardigrade or a Pompeii worm, an Arctic krill, or any other of Earth's extreme survivors. We won't know until we return there. If Venus is older than our planet, studying it in more detail may further help us prepare or even prevent some aspects of Earth's possible future. That's why, even at a cost of $1 billion, space exploration is worth every penny. Billions of dollars, or rather possessors of billions of dollars in space, may have been drawing your attention lately. Sunday, Virgin Galactic owner and billionaire Richard Branson successfully launched to the edge of space aboard Spaceship Two, a VSS Unity supersonic spaceplane. It took just a little over an hour to reach an altitude of 50 miles high, a distance NASA defines as the edge of space. Once there, Branson and the other astronauts experienced a few minutes of weightlessness before gently gliding back down to a landing strip in New Mexico. While in flight, Branson tweeted, "To all you kids out there, I was once a child with a dream looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship. If we can do this, just imagine what you can do." Next Tuesday, July 20th, Jeff Bezos is anticipated to also reach the edge of space aboard his company Blue Origin's spacecraft, New Shepard. In addition to its privately selected crew, New Shepard will feature a commercially ticketed passenger who purchased the chance at charity auction for $28 million. Together, these moments reveal the actualization of commercial space travel in our time. When nearly unimaginable amounts of money are involved in just about anything, critics arise. To those who question the value of such expenditures, I offer a humble, personal, meaning Science Ben's, opinion. The first people to ride in cars were the wealthy. Ships, planes, trains, all individuals with means. As popularity spread, so did access. We are witnessing the first steps towards making space travel possible, and perhaps eventually feasible for all. Optimistic? Perhaps. Should this be the method for innovation and human advancement? That's a question for Reverend Ben, which is an entirely different void and platform, but I digress. Questions. What questions do you have, travelers of the void? What do you want to share today? Thoughts about how fire Venus is? Yeah, I went there. About possible biological life outside of Earth? About the so-called new space race? Now is the time for discussion. Submit your input and I will respond to what you have to say about our exploration. Okay, again, a little quiet just like last time. Lots of exciting things. Something more, in my opinion, just because you asked for it, you didn't, but I'm gonna give it to you. Again, questions about why should these space exploration is really expensive. Why not spread out some of the wealth? My personal Science Ben's personal response to that is that our planet has no shortage of major problems. I think the best way to address those is to find what you're passionate about, research it, and invest your time and energy towards addressing those problems. What we need is creative solutions by impassioned people. There are enough issues that if you pursue what you are passionate about, we'll be able to, and everyone else does the same, then hopefully we can all benefit from one another's interests and joys, passions, what gets us excited. What gets me excited is science. And of course, you can come here at the Danville Science Center, open throughout the summer, to come explore some more about astronomy and other STEM-related interests. And again, we thank you for spending some time this morning joining us here in the void. We look forward to joining us for next month's virtual online interstellar discussion, the second Tuesday of next month. Again, brought to you by Danaki Associates. That will be on August 10th. Until then, we hope that you stay healthy, stay safe, and of course, stay curious. Goodbye.